and excellence. UMaT, arise and shine, arise and
Good morning, fellow students. Welcome to our final day of the vetting. Before we commence, can we all be on our feet for the school's anthem? Thank you. Thank you. Please resume your seats. So I would like to introduce ourselves before we start. So my name is Alhassan Abbas and I'm the chairman for the vetting panel.
Ibrahim Amir, the secretary for this panel.
I'm in the person of Yusuf Ziad, a member of the panel.
I am Iraicha Abuajidankwa, a member of the panel.
I'm here for Michael, a member of the panel.
Thank you. So candidates, kindly tell us your name and the reason you are here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Aticho Bright, a level 300 geomatic engineering student, and I'm vying for the office of the SRC treasurer. And I'm here for my vetting. I am built on three core values, that is unity, transparency, and dedication.
Thank you for attending to us. You can have your seat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So we'll start with the first assessment based on the CV you submitted to us. Can you hear us? Okay.
Mr. Bright, welcome.
Thank you.
In your leadership experience, I can see you are the secretary to the SRC Public Accounts Committee.
Yes, please.
Briefly explain your major roles as a secretary to this committee.
Okay, so the SRC Public Account Committee was an ad hoc committee formed to help scrutinize our various departmental financial funds and also to know their problems as in the departmental level. So it was purposely established for departmental financial funds.
Okay. Did you experience any challenges?
Yes.
And please state them and how you resolve them.
Okay, so after our scrutinizing of the various departmental financial secretaries, we got to realize that most of them, they have little knowledge about finance, especially how to prepare budgets, and some of them couldn't provide receipts for the items they purchased and many more. And so the committee gave a recommendation that we should insist on the fact that outgoing executives, as in financial executives, should make sure that they are going to orient the incoming executives. And we also recommended that before they assume office, they should be privy to departmental budgets and how it is being drawn before they assume office.
Thank you. What insights have you gained? You understand?
Yeah.
From this office that you think has prepared you for the office of SRC treasurer?
So it has made me realize that um, just as I said, I am built on transparency. So in order for us to get a student body that is transparent, we must also start from the departmental level, of which per our assessment, we realized that because they don't understand how the financial processes and procedures work here in our campus, most of them they find it very difficult to record some of their financial statuses, and so it has made me gain insight in financial records keeping and also maintaining of receipts of items being purchased.
Thank you. Do you have a copy of your CV? Yeah. Do you have a copy?
No, please.
SRID, please provide. Under the scores, I can see some misalignments. Is that a mistake or a new style?
My
Under the scores,
my CV.
yes, please.
Under what, please?
Under the scores,
Skills.
yes, please.
You've seen.
Some misalignments.
Okay, I think it was a typo error
Okay.
that needed to be corrected.
Please kindly explain feasibility survey. What was it about?
Okay, so with the visibility surveys, I happen to be part of a research team that helped Dr. Charles Watson Opoku, a lecturer at UMaT Takwa campus, to do a survey to help his project. And so we were going from house to house to do surveys to, see how people acquire their lands. How it was basically about geomatics department, yeah, our courses. Yes. And so that's why I wrote this
Okay, thank you very much.
feasibility surveys there. I am preview to it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Bright Atisho,
Justice.
welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, on the CV, who is Mr. Paradise?
Mr. Paradise is my alias name.
Alias being used for an official document. Do you think that's the proper way to go by things?
I actually have two email accounts, but the one with my name on it is currently inaccessible. That's why I use my alias, so that in case of any formal contact, I would get it directly.
Well noted on that. But let's come to your professional summary. Between the geomagnetic engineering student and at the University of Mines and Technology. Okay, having the CV with you there.
Yes, please.
Kindly check the spacing over there.
Yeah.
What happened?
So the soft copy that I had, I didn't see the space over there, and so I don't know if it was an issue from the printing press. So after I printed it out, that's when I got to realize that there is a space there. And so justices, kindly pardon me for that.
Okay. Let's go to your hobbies and interests. You love reading and local politics.
Yes, please.
What do you mean by local politics?
I mean politics or issues relating to our Ghanaian politics.
What do you mean?
Mr. Bright,
Justice.
yeah, under your leadership skills, you talk about policy implementation. What policy have you implemented that is yielding a better result?
Okay, so having served as the communication officer for 10 UMaT SRID, running to that position in my policies, I stated in it that I would make sure that we have and a podcast or a show that we would talk about student politics, national politics, and something like a debate between Tin and Tescon. And by the grace of God, I have been able to implement it. It's just that,
And it's yielding a result.
so we are having some technical issues. That is why some of our works haven't been published,
Okay,
but we are still on it.
all right.
You're welcome, Mr. Bright.
Thank you, Justice.
So, under your professional summary, you said you are committed to fostering effective accountability.
Yes, please.
Please, what do you mean by effective accountability?
Okay. So effective accountability in the sense that um, with the policies that I'm bringing on board, I already know that the SRC has an audit committee that does audits for the SRC. However, there are some people who still do not believe in the audits of the audit committee. And so I am bringing on board policies to help improve on that. That is why I added effective accountability to it.
Okay, sorry. So, kindly kindly take note for the font size of the leadership experience, the font size, and compare it to that of the education, languages, skill, and then working experience. Do they fall under the same category? You see, when you are working in Word, there is heading 1 and heading 2. And then heading 2, usually they have the same font sizes. Okay, so I want to know if the leadership experience falls under heading 2 as the education and languages also do, because there's a difference in font size.
Please, do you mean the content as in where the University of Mines and Technology is? So
No, please, just the font size of the leadership
the
experience.
leadership experience
Yes,
and the
sir.
education and languages.
Yes.
Yes, I just realized it, and I guess it's an oversight.
All right. Thank you. You said you are the non-residential rep to the LA, right?
One of the reps.
One of the reps.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So, who is the non-residential rep to the Judicial Committee? You know there is one non-residential rep in the Judicial Committee.
Yes, please.
Please, who is that?
Justice Juliet.
So you seven. So you serving as the one of the members of the non-residential rep to the LA, what have you done so far? Have you visited any hostels to see their concerns and the difficulties they are facing?
Yes, please.
What hostel?
I visited Jasmo, I visited Zion, and a few to mention.
And then what have you done about it?
Okay, so during the water crisis at Jasmo, I visited the place to engage with the students to know their problems and also see how best we can help them solve that. But then, unfortunately, per our checks, it seems the problem was coming from the Ghana Water Company, and so we couldn't do anything
Much.
about it. However, they had a network issue, and I did a survey to see whether they are ready, if the SRC is buying the Starlink for them, if they are ready to pay. So after that, I did a comprehensive report. I sent it to the SRC president and the executive committee.
Okay, so under your leadership experiences, secretary to SRC Public Accounts Committee,
Yeah.
you made mention it's an ad hoc committee. You
Yes,
said it's
please.
an ad hoc committee.
Yes, please.
So there are views among the students that the committee was formed out of personal vindication. What is your view about that?
It is something that has come to my attention, and my name has been dragged in that particular issue. But what I can say is I am part of the people that pushed for the budgets of the various financial secretaries to be presented to the SRC Parliament and copied to the Parliament as stated in the standing orders. However, most of them didn't follow that provision. And so that was what made the Speaker of the SRC Parliament constitute that ad hoc committee to see as to whether they are doing something fishy in their finances.
Thank you. On that same matter, you made mention of the negatives you came across in the process. So what are some of the positive uh, things you also identified there?
Okay, so for an association like the Association of Computer Science and Engineering Students, they they did a marvelous work. Their work was very nice. They presented us with budgets, expenditures, receipts, everything was on point. And so I think the other departments, they can learn from them.
Okay, my final question before. So the departments, or let's talk about the computer science department, in situations where they made purchases and they were not provided with receipts, what other proofs did they provide to the committee?
So for the computer science and engineering students, they actually have brought up something new that they are using now, that is the Hubtel. And so whenever they make transactions, whenever they withdraw funds, you would see it from the reference that the purpose of the withdrawal is being stated there.
Thank you very much. So we'll move to the next criteria, which is general knowledge.
Mr. Bright, um, which two SRC committee are you chairman of by virtue of your office? should you be elected as the SRC treasurer?
The Finance and Development Committee and the Transport Committee.
Thank you. My second question is, beside the treasurer, who is required to sign all SRC accounts?
The SRC President and the Finance Officer of UMaT.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Bright Atichu.
Justice.
You are now in the field of general knowledge.
Yes, please.
How good are you when it comes to general knowledge?
I will try my best.
We'll try. How good are you when it comes to financial and fiscal literacy?
Having been at the SRC Parliament, I'm privy to some of these things. And so again, I will try my best.
Mr. Bright Atichu, when was the Bank of Ghana established?
The year that it was established,
The year, I mean the date.
respectfully, Justice, I have no idea.
Which committee of parliament is responsible for finances and financial oversight?
The Finance Committee.
And the financial oversight. Finances and financial oversight.
Financial oversight is the Public Accounts Committee.
Who is the chairman of the finance committee
Finance Committee.
of parliament, of the Parliament of Ghana?
Honorable Kojo Ponkroma.
That's wrong. Who is the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee?
Justice, I know it's supposed to be somebody from the opposition party, and I know it's a lady, but unfortunately I can't recall
Good
the
for
name.
that answer. So a further questioning on that. It's supposed to be someone from the opposition party. Is it all the time that it is supposed to be a member from the opposition party? And when, if yes, why? And if no, why?
Justice, I know that by the virtue of the current Public Accounts Committee, and so I don't know for the other ones. Just as I
And I'm
said,
asking for the chairman. You said you are aware it's supposed to be someone from the opposition party. You didn't give me the name for the chairman. And you gave me room for further question and by stating that. And I'm asking, is it all the time that is supposed to be a member from the opposition party? If yes, why? If no, why?
can I go on? Yes, it's supposed to be from the opposition party because the party in power cannot audit themselves, and so it has to come from the opposition.
So, on that same regard, is there a situation or a time period where the ranking member or a member from the governing party chairs the hearing of Public Account Committee? Yeah.
Of the Public Account Committee. So the deputy is the ranking member of the Public Accounts Committee is supposed to be from the ruling party. And so in instances where the chairman is not available, he takes over.
So that was exactly the question I asked you. And I think the chairman of the committee has decided to even make it clearer to you. So let me answer that. The answer you earlier on gave wasn't the right answer. The only instance where the chairman of the committee doesn't preside over the committee is when it involves a member from his own political party. Then the ranking member takes over to chair the committee.
Thank you, Justice, for that insight.
Yeah. And so, should we continue on the general knowledge? I'll stop at this point.
Mr. Bright,
Justice,
please can you name me three principal officers of UMaT?
their names or their office?
No, the office.
Their office.
Principal officers.
Okay, so we have the Vice Chancellor, the Pro Vice Chancellor, and the Registrar.
All right. Beginning of each semester or academic year is when SRC is mandated to arrange new students.
2 weeks.
All right. My next question is, who is the first female vice chancellor of public university in Ghana? The first female vice chancellor.
Her Excellency Professor Jane Nana Okosuo.
So, what is UMaT's motto? UMaT's motto.
Knowledge, truth, knowledge, truth, and I know of knowledge and truth.
All right. So the third one is excellence. All right.
Excellencies.
So as the SRC treasurer, how will you portray these roles in your duty? In performing your duties, how will you portray these mottos of UMaT? How will you portray these characteristics?
Okay, so if I may ask, can I please link into my policies?
No, we'll give you space for your policy. So I just want you to explain how you demonstrate these values in performing your duties.
Okay, so being truthful, when you take the truth, being truthful is by following the requirements of the SRC constitution, as in when you are required as the SRC treasurer to perform any task, you make sure you perform it. And by excellence, to doing your utmost best to make sure that you can leave or make impact on the student body with the office that you are holding. And the knowledge is by using your office to also impact knowledge in other students, or especially the departmental financial secretaries.
Thank you very much. So we move to the next category, which is field knowledge, where you'll be asked questions based on the duties of a treasurer.
So, Mr. Wright,
Just
what
this.
what are your custodial responsibilities over SRC checks, cash books, and bank monies?
The SRC treasurer has access to the checks and the cash books. And so, as a matter of fact, it is his duty to keep them.
So,
Should I go on? You asked me in respect to the checks and the
I
cash.
said, what is your custodial responsibilities?
Okay, so the SRC treasurer also serves as a signatory to the SRC account, together with the SRC president and the finance officer. And again, the SRC treasurer presents budgets to the LA for approval, and the SRC treasurer keeps the SRC funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, when is um, the SRC budget supposed to be presented?
So the SRC budget is supposed to be presented 10 days after reopening to the Executive Council for them to deliberate on it. After they have deliberated on it, it's supposed to be published to the general student body, subject to the approval of the LA.
Okay, thank you. And how long does the LA have to
7
approve?
days.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Mr. Bright Atito,
That's it.
we are now in the area of field knowledge.
Come
Said we are
again.
now in the area of field knowledge.
Area of my reach.
Field knowledge.
Okay.
How prepared are you for this portfolio? How
How
prepared
prepared am
are you
I
for
for
this
this
portfolio?
office? Okay, so having served as a member of the Legislative Assembly, just as I said earlier on, I am privy to some of these things, as in the SRC finances, and I've also served as the secretary to the Public Accounts
Well noted,
Committee.
well noted. So, and so I'm just going to test you. I'm going to test your knowledge on some few things about finances and fiscal literacy. Once again, what is the difference between a receipt and an invoice?
So with a receipt, it is being issued after you purchase an item, but it doesn't give detailed analysis of the item, as in the quantity, the item, and the price. How
Are you sure?
I am saying it,
Is that for receipt or invoice?
that is for receipt, but for
Receipt
invoice,
doesn't give details.
details as in the quantity of the item you purchased, the unit
Okay,
price,
continue.
and the total amount. But for invoices, it does all these things. It gives you the quantity, the item purchased, unit price, and the total sum of the items you purchased.
Is that all for invoice?
Invoice.
Okay, I think you've interchanged the two. Though with the receipt, it is being given afterwards, and an invoice is given before. But you've interchanged, um, should I say, the functions or the primary indicators within a receipt and an invoice. But well, that's okay. Have you read any book on finances?
I recently started.
What is the difference between procurement and contracting?
The difference between procurement and contracting.
Yes, please.
So my understanding is that with procurement, an opportunity is given for people to, apply, or let me start from the contract. So for contract, when contract is being awarded, it is an agreement between two parties, let's say an institution and a contractor, of which it is solely between the two of them. It doesn't involve any other third parties. But for procurement, it's like the doors are open for, let's say, let's use the context of contractors. Let's say there is a road being constructed. The procurement features in.
Well, you've tried. What is procurement? I want a definitive term when we say procurement.
So when we say procurement, it is the method or the ways in which um, goods and services are acquired. Yes.
What's the difference between a treasurer and a finance secretary?
So per my knowledge, a treasurer is responsible for keeping money, and the financial secretary records financial documents.
Is that the only difference? Well, it's okay.
Okay. In your earlier submission, you mentioned checkbooks and cash book. What's the difference between these two? But to keep two secret documents in your custody, that's the checkbook and the cash book. What's the difference between the two?
So the checkbook, the cash book keeps records of transactions being made, and the check is document that is being used to withdraw funds.
Right. My second question is, besides yourself, which standing committee is responsible for all fundraising activities on behalf of the student body?
Besides myself,
Yes. Which?
the Finance and Development Committee.
All right. Thank you.
So, the Minister for Finance presents his budget yearly. Why should you, as the SRC treasurer, pay attention to that?
To further gain insight in how administrative finances are being done, and also to get knowledge or more insight in your field as a treasurer or a financial secretary.
So, what is inflation and how can it affect the SRC budget? Inflation and how can it affect the SRC budget?
So I understand that the SRC funds are being generated through the SRC dues that we pay. And so let's say during the time that the decision was taken as to allocate the amount of money that each student is paying for SRC dues, let's say the inflation was low, and as at the time that the funds are being used, the inflation rises, it is definitely going to go against it because the prices on the market will go up or shoot up.
Thank you, but you did not explain the inflation I asked you. You didn't explain inflation.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and do
And
that.
the inflation. So my understanding of inflation is basically the rise and the fall of our economy, as in our GDP, our gross domestic products.
Okay, thank you.
On the same inflation, suppose there's no inflation but deflation. You make a budget, they make a budget for you. There's an estimate of something that you are going to buy, but there's a deflation. At the time, maybe a price of, let me use cement, was 100 Ghana cedis, but there's a deflation where the price has been dropped to 80 Ghana cedis. How are you going to make sure that the reduction in those price, oh, are you going to refund that money or you're going to keep it? Or how do you understand it based on your position as SRC treasurer?
So when there is deflation, I understand that the SRC has an audit committee where you would account for everything, and so the money needs to be refunded. Yes,
Are you sure for your position?
for my position.
Like, are you sure for what you are saying that you will refund those money that,
As in personally,
yes,
yes, please.
right?
Mr. Bright Attitude,
Justice.
Team Communications Officer. Are you actually sure of what you said?
With
Let, let,
regards
let,
to,
let me give you a case study to answer his question. Inflation is the general increase of prices of goods and services over time.
yeah,
Then how do you explain deflation?
So deflation is the decrease or the opposite of inflation.
And so, how is it linked to the answer you gave?
So he made example of a cement,
Linking it.
a cement. Let's say at the time that the budget was drawn, the cement was 100 Ghana cedis. And at the time that the funds are being used, the budget is 80 Ghana cedis. He was asking whether I would refund the 20 Ghana cedis or not. And I answered him that I would refund it.
Okay. Well noted on that. Still on inflation. What is the current inflation of Ghana?
Justice.
I don't want theoretical questions, but let me put it that way so that we make it more practical.
All right.
The inflation of Ghana is currently hovering around 3.4 and 3.8. So how do we explain it to the layman's understanding that despite inflation being at 3.4, between 3.4 and 3.8, it doesn't mean that when you go to the market, there should be a drastic decrease in the prices of goods. How do you explain it to the layman? As an SRC treasurer aspirant and also the communications officer for team.
How do I explain to the layman that the
Put it in layman's understanding.
inflation, the question again, the inflation is
The inflation of Ghana is between 3.4. Let me benchmark it at 3.6. So explain it to the layman's understanding what this means, what this statistic means.
okay. So I understand that when inflations are not that high, the prices of goods and services are going to go up, but not that high.
Okay, so on that regard, we'll move to the next category, which is the legal documents. So you'll be asked questions on the Constitution, Procurement Act, and all the other legal documents you are provided with. Okay, so according to the Procurement Act, how are contracts awarded? Or how, okay, let's start with how are procurements made.
How are procurements
Just
made?
give me general overview of it, just brief explanation of how it is done.
Okay, so for procurements, an opportunity is given for applicants to tender in, and they give them a specific date, time, and place for nomination, and also give them some time to apply. And also, if there is going to be an extension of the submission of the tender, it is going to be 10 days before the initial set submission date. Yeah. And when receiving the tenders, there should be a receipt of the date and the time that the tenders was submitted.
Thank you. So does the law allow for selective tendering?
Come again, please.
Does the procurement law allow for selective tendering?
Yes, please.
Okay, so under what situations?
Situations whereby it is restricted to locally manufacturers or producers.
Actually, not only that, when special or maybe specialist requirements are needed, maybe you need they have to procure maybe vaccines or something. They don't open it up to all manufacturers. They specify to specific maybe vaccine manufacturers, not those who manufacture beverages and other things.
Thank you, Justice.
Mr. Bright Aticho.
Justice.
And so I wanted to give clarification to that, but I think the chairman of the committee has done that. And I'm sure as the communications officer of TAIN, you know all this. We are rather explaining open tendering. And he asks for how procurement is done. But in procurement, there are various forms of tendering. And he asks for the restricted tendering as well. And so instances with which the law permits for restricted tendering to be done is only in emergency cases. And so take note of that.
Thank you very much.
What is the mandate of the Bank of Ghana?
So the mandate of the Bank of Ghana is to print our Ghanaian cedis and also serve as the central bank and liaising with.
Let me rephrase the question. What is the primary mandate of the Bank of Ghana?
Okay, so we serve as the central bank to the republic.
I know it serves as the central bank to the republic, the mandate.
So it is mandated to regulate other banks. I mean,
No, please. It is responsible for bringing about stabilization in the currency and also in all economic parameters. It is responsible for the stabilization of the economy, basically. As stipulated in the Bank of Ghana, as stipulated in the Bank of Ghana Act. Now let's move forward.
thank you.
Are you aware of the Fiscal Responsibility Act?
Fiscal Responsibility Act. No, please.
You've never heard of anything like the Fiscal Responsibility Act. You've never heard of anything like the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
Fiscal.
Fiscal. FISCAL. Fiscal Responsibility Act.
Respectfully, Justice, I've not had the opportunity to, scrutinize that
Well done,
document.
well done.
Mr. Aticho,
My boss,
according to the ban on collection of card parts, what is the rule regarding an executive receiving a physical cash from a student for use?
the rule.
Yes.
The rule of an SRC or JCL executive taking
Any executive receiving physical cash from students for use. Like, do you get it? You see, we have the Cash Collection Act. Have you read about that document?
Yes, please.
So, what's the rule regarding an executive receiving cash from student body?
So the Cash Collection Act simply prohibits the collection of physical money from students by any executive.
All right. That's what I was expected. Thank you very much. The second question is, if a money is spent by an officer, but no receipt is provided, how must that expenditure be recorded during an audit? Should I repeat again?
If it is
If money is spent by an officer, but no receipt is provided, how must that expenditure be recorded during an audit? You don't have any idea?
so, the Constitution states clearly that all expenditures must be must be provided with receipts.
But in this case, money is spent by an officer by which there is no receipt. So, in your recording, how do you record this during an audit? Let me help you. It must be recorded as unaccounted for. So you should take note for that.
Okay,
All right. Thank you very much.
thank you, sir.
Please, can you tell me what reimbursement is? Reimbursement.
Reimbursement.
Yes, please.
Reimbursement is when or a situation whereby a budget is being made, funds are withdrawn, but the funds withdrawn weren't spent at all, as in maybe they couldn't spend all the money, and so the money left, which will be taken back to the SRC account, is reimbursement.
So, in simple terms, paying back.
Yes, please.
So, according to the Constitution, I read members of the SRC or any other student shall be reimbursed out of the SRC funds against any indebtedness incurred exclusively for and on behalf of the SRC. How do you explain this statement from the Constitution?
So it is basically when you are taxed or you are performing a tax in the name of the SRC, whereby you use your own money to purchase something or provide for any service. The Constitution gives us the opportunity to reimburse that money to you, provided you show receipts.
Okay, thank you. So, which constitution is the SRC constitution subject to?
The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
So, why is that hierarchy important? Why the need for that?
To my understanding,
Sure.
the SRC constitution is subjected to that of the Ghana constitution because the drafters of the constitution knew it might get to a time where certain things or new developments will come whereby the constitution doesn't capture it. And so accordingly, if there is any or such situations, the SRC or the
Let,
judicial committee can refer
not to
to
interject you, but let me come in at this point. Do you know what is stipulated in Article 2 of the Constitution of Ghana? Let me help you out. Supremacy of the Constitution of Ghana.
Okay.
So now answer his question. Answer her question. Sorry.
Okay. So it is subjected to the Ghana Constitution because it is the supreme law of the land.
So let's move to the internal affairs.
Mr. Bright,
Justice.
should the president direct you to release funds for an emergency program that has not received um, the approval of the constitution? Okay, and he insists that
Please, can you clarify on the approval of the Constitution?
I think it has no grounds. Okay,
Okay.
based on the constitution, and he insists that it's very important and that program can't wait. How will you respond to this request?
So the SRC president asked me, the SRC treasurer, to withdraw funds.
Yeah, to release funds for an emergency program,
Okay.
and that has not received a constitutional approval. Okay, that has not received approval at all.
From the early.
Yes, please. How will you respond to this problem or directive?
So I understand that funds being withdrawn from the SRC accounts is subject to the approval of the LA. And so without the approval of the LA, we cannot use funds as we wish. How will I explain to him? How will I respond to this? I would tell him to go through the right processes for the withdrawal of the funds.
Okay. Mr. Aticho, right.
Justice.
My question is, if the SRC invites you to an international meeting or a project, who has the power to nominate you as a delegate?
If the SRC
Invite you to a conference, maybe in Accra, who has the power to nominate you?
the SRC president,
But not only the SRC president. It must be in consultation with the executive committee.
executive
So you
council.
should take note. Next question is, as an SRC executive, you are part of the National Unions of Ghana, that's the NUCs. Can you name two international student bodies that NUCs is affiliated with?
Two international bodies
That
NUCS
NUCs
is
is
affiliated with.
affiliated with.
The International Students Association,
Okay, and in the West African Student Union. Right, thank you.
Mr. Bright,
Justice.
so who chairs the Finance and Development Committee?
Who chairs the Finance and Development Committee?
Yes. Who is the chair of the Finance and Development Committee?
The SRC treasurer.
So, can you explain what incompetence and dishonesty is? Incompetence and dishonesty.
So incompetence is when a person is not being able to fully perform a task assigned to him or her, and The other one,
Dishonesty.
dishonesty is when you are not being honest with your dealings.
Okay. So, which of these two do you think can cause great harm to your office as the treasurer? Which of the two?
On personal grounds,
Yes, please. Which of the two can cause great harm to your office as the
both
treasurer?
both of them,
Defend yourself. Explain to me why the both of them can cause great harm to your office.
because as an SRC treasurer, you have to be truthful at all times to the office and the student body, and you have to perform to the maximum. So if you are being incompetent and if you are not being truthful, it is going to hinder the work of the SRC or the administrative work. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So now give you the chance to make a presentation of your policies and innovations. So
Okay.
you have 5 minutes to do that.
Respected panels, ladies and gentlemen, this is a policy presented by myself, Teacher Brides, of which I've named it the Ubiara Womu policies. So this is just to go through the contents of my policies, the introduction, visions and mission, background policies, innovations, implementation, conclusion and remarks. So as an aspirant for SRC Treasurer at UMaT, I present the Obiarumu policies, practical 1 year mandate designed to bridge
Sorry,
the
I hope
gap.
you know you have 5 minutes to do that.
Yeah. So it is designed to bridge the gap between financial management and student well-being. Let's move on to the next one. So my vision is to build an SRC financial system that is transparent, accountable, digitally driven, student-centered, and sustainable. And my mission is to manage student resources with dedication, transparency, and also bring the student body together in unity by supporting student development, introducing impactful programs that improve the well-being skills and experiences of all students. So with humility, I present these policies as an SRC aspirant at the University of Mines and Technology. My desire to serve as the next SRC treasurer is built on my dedication to transparency and accountability, as well as my belief that there is unity in any institution that has a responsible financial leadership. That's good. So the first policy that I am presenting is the Buaunia Initiative. So the Buaunia Initiative is a policy aimed at helping students, entrepreneurs, and also as a form of generating money among our student body. So I am proposing to organize a 3-day campus market every semester, as I have observed that students take delight whenever campus markets are organized during SLC and JCR weeks. And so it is something that I want to implement and establish, whereby aside having them in the JCR and the SLC weeks, we are going to have a 3-day program where we are going to do just that, just to generate money among student body to also help our needs and also support our well-being. So the Scholarship Access and Diversification Initiative. So this initiative aims at helping students to apply for scholarship outside campus, as in external scholarships, because I believe if we are able, or if I am able to use my office to help students to apply and secure scholarship outside our SRC scholarship, it would help subsidize the number of students or applicants that apply for SRC scholarship almost every year, and also increase the opportunity of, helping or securing scholarship opportunity for our brothers and sisters who are in need. And so based on that, let's say if the SRC is doing 50 scholarship every year, this policy is going to help either decrease it or maybe make more impact. And by so we move on to the next policy, which is this hostel fee support fund. So having um, worked on the scholarship schemes or the external scholarships, I am with the conviction that we would be able to also save money for the hostel fee support fund. Having been the non-residential rep to the LA, I have witnessed situations and a lot of problems whereby students go through hostel constraints. They are not able to pay their hostel fees. However, the SRC is granting SRC scholarship for people, but this policy seeks not to open application for students, but rather create a fund whereby if there is a need for us to support anybody with hostel fee, we can go and I mean get support from that fund.
Thank you very much. You've exhausted your 5 minutes, so you can have your seats. So you'll be asked questions based on your policy document. Even with the ones you couldn't present, the questions will come under.
Mr. Bright Aticho,
Justice.
what is the meaning of Bwaunwa?
Waunia simply means help your brother or your sister.
Help your brother or your
Help a brother.
help a brother. What of the sisters?
I initially said brothers, your brother or your sister, but it seems you didn't capture the sister part.
Okay. When we say revenue, what does it mean?
Revenue.
Yes, please.
Revenue simply means money generated.
Okay. You said under policy 2, scholarship access and diversification.
Yes.
I read through it yesterday, and so I wouldn't want to start reading to go through to see where I have my questioning on.
All right.
And so, but you made mention of something like the current SRC scholarship. There's pressure on it.
Yes, please.
What the total number of beneficiaries for the scholarship is?
Initially, it was presented to Parliament as 50 beneficiaries, but it was afterwards presented to us again as 55 beneficiaries. And so you can understand the pressure on the
And the
SRC.
population of the school is what is the population
For
of the school?
SRID alone,
Yeah,
3,000 plus.
53,000 divided by 50, sir.
3,000 divided by 50. About 600.
About what?
60.
I want the percentage terms. What is the
Perce-
percentage of 50 out of 3,000?
50 out of 3,000
3,000.
students.
Are you committed to empowerment?
Yes, please.
And so let's do the mathematics.
All right.
50 out of 3,000. The percentage. Or you need a calculator.
I'm just trying to calculate it.
Yes. 50 out of.
So it will be
So
five.
and let me come in. The point of my question is this: if you are actually committed to empowerment,
Yeah.
I don't think you should be saying that there's actually pressure on the scholarship, because there are a lot of students on campus, though sometimes you don't see it on their face. They actually need help. If if you can't if you can't expand the number of beneficiaries to that scholarship, then I don't think it would be wise to say that there's actually pressure on the scholarship.
I am saying there is pressure on the SRC scholarship
Um,
because whenever they open applications for people to apply, we mostly have hundreds of students applying for it. But because we don't have that financial capacity to help the hundreds of students, we are limited to the 50 students that we normally go by. And so, what this initiative is seeking to do is to support other students. Because one thing that I realize is most of the students they have problems when applying for these external scholarships, and so they see the internal one or the SRC one to be more feasible and easy to apply. And so what my office is going to do is we are going to help them apply for the external ones. Thank you.
and so that links me to the revenue question. How do you intend to generate enough revenue to meet up with some of these things?
How do I intend to some of these things, as in, please can you be specific?
The scholarship. I think you are attributing the number to the current funds we have for the SRC, and that's the
Yes,
reason why you are saying there's enough pressure on the SRC scholarship.
yes,
So,
please.
in your bid to become the next SRC treasurer, in an attempt to solve all this, how do you intend to generate revenue to catch up with all this in terms of the scholarship? And I believe there are other things you will intend to do so that there wouldn't be pressure mounted on the amount we have in the SLC account.
Yes.
But the generation will meet up to what we actually intend to do. How do you intend to do things?
Okay, so SRC funds are mostly generated from the dues that student pays, but there are other ways of generating funds for the SRC by selling off SRC souvenirs and other stuffs. That is another opportunity of also generating revenue for the SRC.
Okay. Mr. Teacher, you also talk about hostel fee support fund.
Yes, please.
How is this? How are you going to implement this? And how are you going to make it transparent to others who needs help, surely needs help? Because I personally believe that this kind of support or mostly goes to people that you know. So how are you going to show that you keep track to those who indeed need that support? How fair are you going to be beyond this?
Okay, so when I'm being elected as the SRC treasurer and I come into office, as part of the requirement for this particular policy, we are going to liaison with the welfare committee who is in charge of the students' affairs, I mean well-being, and also the non-resident student committee as well. So just as I said, we are not going to open applications for people to apply.
Okay.
We are going to create a fund for that, but it will be made known to the student body. And so if you have any problem of that sort, you come to the SRC and we go through the necessary requirements
What will
before.
be the requirements?
So per the requirements, we have to establish that indeed you are in need of the fund, as in maybe you are being evicted from your hostel, or maybe you are financially incapacitated to pay your bills or your hostel fees. And after that, we would also get to know, we will get to the source of your funding and see, because there are other students who even sometimes use their hostel money and their school fees for other things, but later turns to the SRC for support. And so we are going to look into that and see whether you are financially incapacitated or you have the money, but maybe you've squandered it.
Okay. All right.
Sure. So how is the hostel fee support fund different from the emergency accommodation grant?
So the emergency accommodation grant is an initiative where the aim of that initiative or innovation is cases whereby you've paid your hostel fee, comfortable living in your hostel, but let's say due to some natural disaster, just as we recently happened in some parts of Western region, whereby um, there were floods at some of the student hostels, and so they were forced to move out of their hostel because of these natural disasters. So that is where this policy comes in to help those people, because it is an emergency, and so that is when we need to help them.
So all this will be funded from the SRC coffers. Would they be funded from the SRC coffers?
So just as I stated, it is a support. We are not going to fully fund,
Okay,
so it is a support.
right. So for your finance beyond the books initiative, I think you made mention that the computer science department stood out when they presented their budget to you.
Yes, please.
And then you said that other departments can learn from them.
Yes.
Right. So why the need for this if the other departments can go to them and learn from them directly?
It was this SS administration that had an excellent books, and so we don't know for the incoming ones. But in our quest to ensure transparency, there is a need for the office of the SRC treasurer to take this bold step by engaging with the various financial secretaries to impact that knowledge in them.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So we are done with your question, but before you leave us, kindly give us your final words and also address the students on the reason they should vote for you. So you can step forward and do that.
Okay, so fellow students gathered here, I present myself for you to vote for me as the SRC treasurer, because I believe that finance is the backbone of every institution. And so I believe having me as your finance or your SRC treasurer I would work with my core values being dedication, unity, and transparency to help this SRC to promote and also ensure the well-being of our students. And so I humbly plead and ask that you all vote for me as your next SRC treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You are discharged.
Thank you very much.